a service of CNC Worldwide.
The Daily Podcast is a service of CNC News. It's brought to you by the Greece Chamber of Commerce, providing more than 800 member companies with business solutions since 1984. It is Election Day across New York State. We'll have the results for you on this podcast tomorrow. In the meantime, Rochester Mayor Tom Richards says it is not likely, but on Wham 1180's Bob Lonsberry show on Monday, Richards said that if he should get more votes on the independents and working families lines than Democrat Lovely Warren or Green Party candidate Alex White, then yes, he would serve another term as Rochester's mayor. Richards says he won't turn his back on the city.
If I, for some reason here, get the most votes, then I am the mayor, and I'm going to have to behave in a way that makes sure I keep the interests of the city in line. So I'll be the mayor for a while, no matter what happens.
You would then be sworn into a new term and serve at least part of that term?
Yeah, I would, because I don't see any other way to avoid it, quite frankly. That what happens if I decline is we go into a special election here, and that special election wouldn't be held until November of that year, and whether that's a good thing for the city is open to some major question. But, I'm not going to walk away from it. I've invested a lot of my life in this place. This is where I intend to be. And it's important to me, it's important to the city, and I'm not going to walk away from it.
Mayor Richards' friends have done their best to make him an undeclared candidate for re-election, despite his pretty definite-sounding "I'm done" and his endorsement of Democrat Lovely Warren for mayor. The mayor said he was surprised to find the extent of the Independence Party efforts on his behalf. The mayor repeated he has had no contact with what some call the underground campaign to re-elect him, but also repeated that if he happens to win the majority, he will be mayor as long as it takes to ensure the stability of Rochester. The polls are open until 9 Tuesday night. There are the highly visible races, including, as we said, mayor of Rochester, supervisors and town boards in the suburbs, and an election for Monroe County Sheriff that many voters may not even have noticed between Republican incumbent Patrick O'Flynn and Green Party candidate Emily Good. Far more attention has been drawn to neighboring Livingston County, where Republican Thomas Doherty and conservative James Cesniak have been battling to replace the retiring Sheriff John York. Given Livingston County's recent electoral history, we're hoping this doesn't end up as another tie. And don't forget to flip your ballot over. The propositions, including whether New York should legalize non-Indian casinos, are on the back. In Greece and Irondequoit, the Republican and Democratic candidates for supervisor traded campaign ethics charges before the Fair Campaign Practices Committee in the final days of the campaign. In Greece, Republican Bill Rylick voted at the Ridge Road Fire District, Democrat Dick Beebe across town on Mount Read Boulevard. As both men held their final get-out-the-vote push on Monday, there was still time for Greece Democrats to complain that Republicans' final mailer for supervisor candidate Bill Rylick made it look as though he had been endorsed by the Democrat and Chronicle when the paper actually endorsed Democrat Dick Beebe. And the tone of these campaign flyers as well, take a look. We are evidently to believe that our candidates from both major political parties have both come off a 3-day bender and are somewhat fuzzy and out of focus looking when you take their pictures. At any rate, it'll all be over soon. A state Supreme Court judge has found Rochester's red light traffic cameras are constitutional. Judge Scott Odorizzi issued a ruling throwing out attorney Lawrence Krieger's lawsuit against the cameras, which snap pictures of cars running red lights, then send a $50 ticket to the car's registered owners. Krieger argues this violates the right to due process since it tickets the owner of the vehicle who may not necessarily have been the driver, and Krieger may appeal. Mayor Tom Richards says the city's red light camera program will continue improving public safety. Monroe Community College is dropping its men's ice hockey program after this season. MCC Athletics Director Skip Bailey says there are 2 reasons: lack of competition at the community college level and high costs. Bailey says there are just 8 teams in the NJCAA and no more are coming in. And Buffalo Bills fans are walking with their heads higher despite Sunday's loss to Kansas City. The reason being, E.J. Manuel is cleared to play after recovering from his knee injury. It's ultimately up to Coach Marone, but it looks like the Bills will have a starting quarterback for Sunday's game in Pittsburgh. A couple of final notes. Sorry, no podcast yesterday. We had production work, and we will do our best because tonight I'm both working for CNC and also at Wham 1180. So we'll get things updated as we can on CNC News, but we will have the results for you up by tomorrow morning on the local electoral races and in the next podcast. So, links to these and other stories are on the left on CNC News pages, and at the bottom, links you can use to post news and information, comments, and so forth straight to us, and we're working up a new system for that, so you can do it by email. Next podcast is As It Happens, and the updates are as necessary. I'm Bud Lowell, CNC News.